So we have, imagining this is our first machine, which is f of x, and this is our second machine, which is g of x. And we want to find g of f of 2. So the first thing we're going to find is what f of 2 is. Just like order of operations, we work from inside the brackets first. If we want to find out what f of 2 is, we imagine the machine for f of x and say, if you plugged in 2, what would come out? And we look at our chart. Sure enough, if we plug in 2, out would come a 0. And it's basically the 2 is your x value, and f of 2 is your y value from your f function. So out would come a 0. And f of 2 is equal to 0, and we can see that right here. And now we have g of 0. So we're going to go to our function that's g of x, and imagine here's our function machine, and say, what happens if you plug 0 into that function? What would come out? And we have that right here. Out would come a 1. So this is equal to 1. So g of f of 2, the composition of those functions, out would come a 1. Second one, what's g of 2? Well, now we're only using the g machine. We're first saying, what happens if you plug 2 into that function? What would come out? A negative 1. And then if you plug negative 1 into the function, what would come out? A 2. I'll do that. In this case, in this situation. So then you could, if you wanted to, do things like g of g of g, g, g. Oh, I'm running out of space. Better stop. Good. What would that be? That's a 2 that I plugged in. Is it going to be 2 again? It's going to be either 2 or negative 1, depending on how many g's I wrote, right? So it's an even number, so it's going to be 2 again. Nice. Because it'll just keep flip-flopping, right? This would be negative 1, then it'd be 2, then negative 1, then 2, then negative 1, then 2, then negative 1, then 2. Okay, some to practice. Question number 4, but I'm going to give you, we're going to do one more example together, then I'll give you some time to practice.